Hey, what's up you guys, it's Caboose bringing you another Marvel's Avengers video, and today what I got for you guys here is some additional details in regards to the SpiderMan DLC for Marvel's Avengers. Scot Amos has addressed Spider-Man being a character in the game and how it all actually came to be, and he also maybe teased crossplay. We're gonna get into it. Before we do so though, I wanted to ask you guys, of course, if at any point you enjoy this video, if you could consider leaving a like rating on it, it would show your support, and I would really appreciate it. So if you enjoy the video at any point, leaving a like rating would be awesome. And if you're new around here, well, I'm going to be covering all things Marvel's Avengers, news, updates, trailers, my reactions to trailers, and then of course you're going to be seeing some gameplay on this channel when the beta drops this weekend. Anything you want to know about Marvel's Avengers, I got you covered. So if you'd like, you can subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell to be immediately notified when a video goes live. And with all that being said, well, let's get into this. If you've been living under a rock, then you wouldn't know that Spider-Man has been officially announced as a DLC character for Marvel's Avengers that will arrive at some point in early 2021. The unfortunate catch is that the character will be exclusive to the PlayStation platform, so he'll only be available to play as if you own the PlayStation 4 version of the game or the PlayStation 5 version of the game. And this has certainly stirred up quite the conversation online and definitely has gotten quite a few people upset that are going to be getting the game on the Xbox or the PC. I've given my thoughts on the matter already. You can check the breaking news video when I talked about the Spider-Man DLC being announced, in which I provide my thoughts on everything there. But today we're going to be talking about some more insight that we got about how this all came to be from Scot Amos, who is the studio head at Crystal Dynamics. He sat down with some members of media and he answered some questions specifically about Spider-Man and crossplay, so let's go over it. In answering specifically whether or not Spider-Man DLC being exclusive to PlayStation affects crossplay being in the game in any way, Scot Amos had to say this: because of Sony's unique relationship with Marvel and PlayStation, specifically, that gives us an affordance with Spider-Man that we wouldn't have otherwise. So that's something unique because of that relationship. But looking at the future, you know we have cross-gen. PS4 to PS5 will work, and Xbox One to Xbox Series X will work, so cross-gen works. Looking at cross-play as a broader ecosystem is something we want to explore absolutely for the future. At the moment, we have no promises, we have no announcements, but it's saying, hey, this is a connected world. We want everybody to play together where they can. So when we get to it, and assuming we get to that future, certainly we'll talk about crossplay then. But for the moment, it is two separate issues of saying one does not actually influence the other. We wanted this to be something specific because of the unique relationship and the great partnership between Sony and our collaboration with Marvel that's awesome, and then looking at the future consoles and other announcements, we'll make them when it's time. Oh boy, okay, so a lot to unpack within this quote. It seems like Scot Amos is pretty much, at least at this point, teasing that they have plans for crossplay in the future. They're just not ready to officially announce it. And honestly, with Spider-Man being exclusive to PlayStation, I did think that that dream was dead. And if you're asking me, it's real salt on the wound if you're going to be playing crossplay and you see someone using Spider-Man while you're on the Xbox or the PC, knowing full well that you're not going to be able to get your hands on that character. So I'm really not sure how something like that is going to be tackled, but it looks like Crystal Dynamics is definitely actively thinking about crossplay for Marvel's Avengers, which I guess I do appreciate. Crossplay is definitely something that I'm really happy is starting to become a norm and starting to become something that's so genuinely possible within this console generation and hopefully within the next one. Being able to play with anyone, no matter where they are playing, is just a great concept, and here's hoping that it does happen, but again, I really don't know how fans are going to react in regards to Spider-Man being exclusive and seeing him playable in a Warzone mission, knowing full well they can't access that. But moving on, there's some additional quotes from Scot Amos, and I'll also leave links in the description below as to where I got my sources here so that you can read the entire articles yourselves, as I do always encourage that when I cover things like this. But Scot Amos further elaborates on Spider-Man by saying this: so the beauty of Spider-Man and what Spider-Man represents as a character in this world is, again, it comes back to the relationship with PlayStation and Marvel. We happen to be ones who can execute and deliver when it comes down to choices of where and what Spider-Man can be. That's a relationship question that you know PlayStation absolutely has the rights to that, as you guys know with Sony's ownership, movie ownership he means specifically there, and Marvel with Sony saying, hey, this is something we can do. This is something we can do on this platform. And as creators, we have this opportunity that we can make something unique and fun and awesome. Now, we don't really know for sure. However, it does kind of sound like this was maybe an idea from PlayStation specifically. And if you're Crystal Dynamics, are you going to choose not to make Spider-Man as a DLC character? Of course you are. Even if it was pitched the other way around, if Crystal Dynamics went to Marvel Games and they were like, hey, can we put Spider-Man in our game? And Marvel said, yes, but we're going to have to work with Sony on this and it'll probably end up being an exclusive. I still don't know a scenario where I would want to be Crystal Dynamics saying no. So again, I completely understand and I feel for you guys, the frustration that Xbox and PC players have, even some of the PlayStation owners who are saying that they're not a fan of this. I understand the frustration and I get where you guys are coming from. You're missing out on a cool character, and I'm not going to tell anyone that you should deal with it or you should get over it or anything like that. You're allowed to be upset. The only thing that I'm saying is we might be in a scenario here where it was like an all or nothing deal. Either Crystal Dynamics has to make Spider-Man exclusive to the PlayStation in order to be allowed to create the character for the game, or they can't create the character for the game at all. And I feel I'd rather have Spider-Man in the game in some capacity, and if I'm Crystal Dynamics, I take this chance and I take this opportunity and run with it. But again, we don't know specifically what went down behind the scenes. All we do know is that clearly the relationship between Sony and Marvel, specifically PlayStation, in regards to the PlayStation Spider-Man game being exclusive, and in terms of the way that Sony has owned the rights of Spider-Man and right now currently has a joint ownership with Disney but will retain the rights of Spider-Man, is the reason why this character ended up being exclusive for the PlayStation platform. There's one more quote that I wanted to read to you here from Scot Amos in which he seemingly just directly addresses the backlash. So here's what he had to say. We love the idea of being able to bring this character to the PlayStation players, and so far as everybody else goes, dude, we just announced Hawkeye less than a week ago. We have 2 characters announced within a matter of 5 days. The future is bright. People will get fixated on one thing as opposed to you're going to have hundreds of hours of content and years of storylines coming ahead of us and new worlds and new regions and new heroes and more stuff we haven't even announced yet. But I really do think people look at this and say, yeah, okay, we get that. We understand the business behind it. But in general, we're making this game for everybody. We want this to be the place you get to play those superhero fantasies out with my Avengers team that'll continue growing with new characters you haven't even guessed yet that are going to come to this roster down the road, and new regions as well. So I am very excited for what the future holds for everybody on all platforms. So what I think Scot Amos is trying to confirm here, and by the way, it was confirmed that there will be no more additional exclusive characters outside of Spider-Man, but essentially what Scot Amos I think is trying to say here is that outside of Spider-Man, regardless of that DLC, there's going to be a ton of additional content that everyone is going to be able to play. And while I do love Hawkeye and I'm very excited for that character and I'm going to be all in on playing that character when he launches, you can't really compare Hawkeye to Spider-Man, come on. But in general, I do understand the point that he's trying to make in that there is a lot of content planned for Marvel's Avengers and Spider-Man isn't going to be the defining DLC for the game. Knowing that Hawkeye is coming as DLC and we're all going to be able to play as him, and knowing that there will be other DLC characters that we're all going to be able to try out is still an exciting idea. And then of course, knowing that all that DLC is going to be free is great. I'm very excited for the future of Marvel's Avengers and I hope this game succeeds and that we could see that plan, that vision that Crystal Dynamics has for this game fully come to fruition. Because who knows where we're going to be in terms of additional content, heroes, and all that fun stuff for Marvel's Avengers 1, 2, 3 years down the line with the game. But again, missing out on Spider-Man, such a huge IP, such an important character to so many people, to have that being just on one console is an unfortunate thing. So yes, I'm excited for Spider-Man as DLC. I'm super hyped to be able to try out this character, but I know every single time I load up a Warzone playing as Spider-Man, there's going to be a feeling of guilt knowing that there are other people out there that can't try this out. And as a side note, as I didn't mention this when the news had broke, I am so hyped that Crystal Dynamics is taking inspiration on Steve Ditko and John Romita Sr.'s design for the character. Steve Ditko and John Romita Sr. have certainly made some iconic looks for Spider-Man in comic books, so I'm very excited to see how Crystal Dynamics does their own spin on that when they adapt it into the game. And with all this being said, I now want to kick it to you guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. First of all, what do you think about Scot Amos' comments on crossplay? Do you think that it's going to happen in Marvel's Avengers? And also, what do you think about what he has to say in regards to Spider-Man as a PlayStation exclusive DLC character. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and please try to keep it as civil as you possibly can. I know there's some people out there that are really attacking the devs and PlayStation for this, and I don't think that that's right. Even if you are frustrated, even if you are upset, I feel there's a very respectful way to get that message across. So sound off in the comments, but let's try our best to keep it civil. And with that said, if you enjoyed today's video, if you could consider leaving a like rating on it, it would show your support, and I would really appreciate it. I'm Caboose, and you can click on screen to make your way to one of the other videos on the channel, or you can click my logo to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. You can also follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Those links are in the description. Drop a like if you enjoyed, leave a comment if you have an opinion, and subscribe if you're new. See you guys later.